Hello, hello. Welcome to the Confidence Cure podcast with Louise. Today I have the lovely Layla Toast with me, and we are talking about so many different subjects today. So, hello, Layla. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Louise. You okay?
I am good, thank you. I am good. So, thanks for coming today.
No,
So,
thank you.
we're going to be talking all about menopause, perimenopause, premenopause, and how we got there in the first place.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you want to go with yours first.
Yeah. So I'll start from the beginning where I started into the industry, what took me there and how I got into it. So I had my son in my early 20s as a single mum. So that was a bit of a juggle at the time. I had quite a lot of baby weight to lose. So I joined a gym. And I was really unfit. I couldn't even barely I couldn't really run on the treadmill. I think I managed to do like walk for a minute, run for 1 minute, and then eventually I built up sort of a bit more stamina. But obviously I started to lose the baby weight, and then I fell in love with the classes, like Les Mills classes. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they were like body combat, body attack, body pump, spin, those kind of things. And I thought, you know what, this is what I want to do. I just, when you know what you want to do, like that's it. So I qualified to become an instructor, Les Mills instructor. And but I think the downside of that was being in the industry at that time was very much wasn't I don't know whether or not it was just because of the whole how everything was with always trying to be smaller, 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 that obsession with being smaller all the time and constantly tracking calories and always on the scales, always desperately wanting to lose more weight,
Yeah.
thinking it would just always make you happy. So it became like a bit more of an obsession for me, a little bit of an unhealthy obsession. But even though I loved being in the industry, that was obviously the downside of it as well. So yeah, it wasn't too great. I mean, I was really quite little. I'd lost a lot of weight and still felt the need to keep going. Anyway, so then I met my husband, and then we had a couple of children together, which is Bluebell and Flynn. So I've got 3 children. And then I was like, you know what? I really just want to get stronger. But also after the third child, I had this condition called diastasis recti.
Yeah.
So it's a separation of the tummy muscles, which is really, really common. And lots of postnatal ladies, or even ladies years after having their children.
Even before. I'm sure you can have that before you've even had children, can't you?
I think some people might get it. I don't know how it happens, but it is generally more of I think it's more of a postpartum thing because obviously the tummy muscles have to kind of like separate, to carry a baby, and then you have to kind of make sure they're reconnected. But again, in women's health and things like that, they're not always checked. Like some of these ladies go for their 8 to 12 week checkup, but they don't check things like that. There's a
Yeah.
little test you can do to check your separation of your tummy muscles. So which is a little bit of a tricky thing because means you've got a weak core, it's not going to function properly, and then it's going to cause injury and back pain. So which is what was happening to me, for me as well. When I got into weight training, deadlifting, I herniated my disc in my lower back, so that put me out of action for quite some time. I had to literally verbally coach my classes for months.
Yeah.
um, I did quite a bit of rehab and deep core work, and I thought that led me into becoming a Pilates instructor. I just thought I need to just get my core really strong here. I think all the classes that I was doing as well probably wasn't helping the situation. I think it was almost like a bit of wear and tear of the spine because I was probably teaching like 7 days a week, back to back classes.
Oh.
It is a lot, but back then I think that was just our norm as
Was you,
instructors.
was you fueling your body for them classes?
No, not like I would now. No, I think I was just always in that mindset that I needed to be under, like, in a calorie deficit.
Yeah,
I didn't know about how to really properly fuel my body for hitting maybe maintenance to a bit of a surplus, that whole kind of trying to build muscle. No, it was the more research that I did and the more I got into strength training that I realized that was where I knew that was something I really enjoyed learning about, which then obviously led me into the whole kind of yeah, I suppose with strength training and PT clients, and then my body started to sort of like shift quite a bit with in terms of what that style of teaching no longer kind of like helped me, because I was pushing into my sort of mid 40s and really struggling with lots of symptoms of real fatigue, like almost like my body felt like I'd been run over by a bus, as in that's a bit exag.
never. Yeah, it can happen.
Trying to recover, I really thought, what's going on? Something's not right. My joint pain, my elbow joints, my wrists, knees, everything was just starting to, like, I just thought it was getting older. And then there were some other symptoms that were coming with it as well, like the really low moods, and thinking that, I suppose some women think, I'll go to the doctor and they'll just speak to the doctor about it. But because the doctors just dish out things like antidepressants for women on low mood, but it's not until you really look into it that you realise it's a sign of perimenopause. So no amount of antidepressants is going to fix declining hormones.
Exactly.
It's a really tricky one, really. So the whole, so yeah, that led me on to thinking, right, okay, it's perimenopause. I realised I'd done quite a bit of research on it myself, and I was like, that's it. I need to learn more now, because this isn't going anywhere. Perimenopause is with you for years until you hit menopause.
Yeah.
And then menopause is obviously the one day that you've no longer had a period after 12 months.
I did, like I said, I've never knew that until I met you.
Yeah.
I just thought you was going through menopause. I didn't realise it was
I
literally
think I suppose it kind of means your menstrual cycle's paused, that kind of thing.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
and then day after that is post menopause.
yeah. I still can't get my head around that your menopause is literally just one day.
Yeah,
It's crazy because you'll hear a lot of people saying got menopause.
yeah, and I suppose because it's all of it, it's perimenopause, menopause, post menopause. It's easier to just maybe refer to
Yeah,
it as menopause.
yeah.
It,
Like,
yeah, still that decline in your female sex hormones, isn't it? Your progesterone, your estrogen, and your testosterone.
exactly. Now, with your journey then, so you've been on quite a journey. You've gone from that extreme to this extreme, wanting to be like thin or small or whatever we call it nowadays, because it used to be you want to be skinny. Now it's just we're not allowed to say that word, but you've gone from that extreme to wanting to be strong. Mindset wise, do you think where was you in these places? Like, where was your good spot?
Took years. I'm not going to lie. It took years. Like I said, I think being in the industry was great, that I was able to move my body and do all of that, but it did come with, the downsides of it was that obsessive kind of like nature when it came to over exercising,
Mhm.
constant calorie counting, or needing to always be in a calorie deficit, and fitness trackers, being obsessed with my fitness tracker, thinking that was just going to be the thing that told me I'd done good.
Yeah,
And then that whole good and bad foods thing that we kind of learned over the years, when it comes to certain ways that it was always spoken about, good foods, bad
yeah,
foods.
yeah, exactly.
It creates this kind of distorted kind of thing when it comes to eating, like with your foods and stuff. Well, it certainly did for me, not for everybody, but I think for me the turning point would have been realizing that actually I was able to get stronger and build muscle when I was actually being able to fuel my body. So obviously muscle is calorie hungry.
Mhm.
So I knew that I needed, in order to be able to get stronger and build more muscle, I had to eat, and I had to eat more. So I was pretty good. I kind of did do that maintenance to a slight surplus, just because I wanted to, I don't know, I just wanted to get into my 40s feeling really strong and beyond. And I grew, glutes and slightly thicker legs and things like that. So yeah, no, I think for me that became more of a healthy relationship then with food, because I was able to kind of not be deprived. I was all of that also really helps with hormone health as well, when you're not constantly depriving yourself or putting yourself in these permanent calorie deficits.
So, like, if you were a woman listening to this now, and obviously the trend of is coming back, like we said, like going skinny again is coming back. So, what would you say to these girls that are trying to get skinny, like for their future self, like
Yeah, future self. Well, I suppose. But what was that? Sorry, Louise.
because their menopause symptoms are going to be much worse if they're not fueling the body, they're not building muscle, they're not looking after their hormones. They might they might mentally go crazy. They won't know. They won't know how to literally look after their bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're just gonna, like I did, just hit burnout. Your body just feels like
Yeah.
your recovery is not very good. You feel quite depleted. But that's if they've got that mindset that they want to keep losing weight, I guess. So yeah, I guess my advice would be to always try and think about, fueling your body with correct, making sure that you're getting a decent amount of good fats, healthy fats, to support hormone health, because all the low fat diets and stuff aren't very good for our hormones. Making sure you're eating adequate amount of protein. So there's a way that you can work that out if you were to maybe work out your TDEE, which is like the total daily energy expenditure. I'm sure you know the calculators and stuff. So that was another thing that I learned for myself. I hadn't quite realized that to be able to build muscle and get stronger, you do need to be able to kind of be eating the right amount of carbs, proteins, and fats.
Yeah.
To achieve your goal. So I think when people understand that a little bit more, then they realize that actually it's probably going to give them that bit more food than they realize they should be, that maybe they weren't having enough, which is why they're feeling the way they are. So yeah, just getting your protein, your fats, your carbs all in order, and making sure that you're, with strength training, that you've got a plan, you've got a structured program, and progressively overloading. So basically just always trying to, lift a little bit heavier, not each time, but over a period of time, trying to progressively lift heavier weights. So you create that kind of stress, stimulus on the muscle in order to grow muscle. Because obviously, I think it's around 35 that you do really start to lose muscle mass.
Yeah. Each
Which,
goes down.
which then affects obviously your bone density. So yes, it's there's a lot to it, but I think if you can just start small with doing some of those things, like lifting heavier weights and getting your nutrition, just not sorted out, but stop worrying about always being in these calorie deficits or desperately needing to be skinny or thinner. Because come perimenopause, when it's coming for your muscle, is basically what it's going to rob you of your muscle.
Exactly. And especially like with like stuff that's going around now, such as the Manjaro, different things like that, that are literally like not working for our benefit for the muscle. So people that are on them as well. Plus, if they are trying to be skinny, or they're doing Manjaro, or they're not doing weight training or anything like that, when they do start to go through these hormonal transitions, that's going to be even worse, isn't it?
It is, yeah, definitely, because you've not got those kind of, you haven't got those hormones firing like you would have done before, which is pre-menopause, before perimenopause. When you're feeling, you probably got more strength and energy because your hormones aren't quite declining when you're younger, so you've got all of that energy and strength. But yeah, when it's a phase in life that's going to happen, I'm not saying every single woman suffers symptoms, but every single woman will go through perimenopause. Whether or not they struggle or not that's the difference. Yeah.
Sorry. Will the symptoms, do you think, determine on how they live their life now compared to then? So, like, obviously, symptoms are always going to be different, but probabilities it's going to be worse if they're not in a sort of doing some sort of strength training now. They're not looking.
Definitely. Yeah, because the knock-on effect of that, if they're not doing, sort of strength training or building enough muscle, then they're not going to have enough muscle to support their bone density later on. So yeah, it's best to probably, I would always say, start as early as you can, but definitely maybe start after, if you haven't, then there's never not really, there's never a time where people just keep putting it off all the time. I'm going to start, and then eventually they get to like maybe 40 or 45 and haven't started strength training. But it's just the benefits as well. Just see it as having muscle on your body is like medicine for your body. It's the health benefits that it brings,
Like menopause, and so like obviously as girls we always find it monthly really hard, like hormones changing. It's not a very nice experience. What if somebody's going through it, what are the things to actually look at that are different from like symptoms from your normal monthly compared to pre-menopause?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question there.
We always get symptoms like every month. Girls that have not gone through it yet, we're getting symptoms every single month. But obviously, as you start to come up to menopause, what kind of symptoms are slightly different?
Yeah.
What would be different? Because obviously, you already get hormonal changes. You already get like temperature raises. You're already feeling fatigued. Your joint, like we already get all of them things. So what would be different to look out for?
Gosh, yeah. So, well, do you get joint pain still around the time?
I don't. Well, I've got endo and PCO, so I feel like lethargic, but I don't get joint pain as such. But I know
Pain is a big one for sure. Gosh, there's UTIs women get, vaginal dryness, because all of that. There's so many symptoms. It can affect eyesight. It can affect your hearing, tinnitus, thinning hair, changes to your skin. What else? Your sleep, insomnia for some women, the ability to stay asleep. Anxiety is a big one. That was one of my ones. The low mood, the anxiety, starting to really kind of social anxiety can start to happen for women in perimenopause as well.
Okay.
Because I guess it's something to do with the serotonin and dopamine and things like that.
Yeah.
Which estrogen would support those hormones. So when the hormones decline, and I guess there's estrogen receptors head to toe in the body. So when they're declining, it is going to affect so many functions in your body. So it's like when some people say, "Oh, don't think I'm getting any symptoms," and then they kind of realize that, and maybe their nails are starting to get thinner. They might start experiencing itchy skin, or the whole kind of realizing that maybe their diet hasn't changed or they haven't changed their exercise, but they might be starting to carry weight in areas like the midsection or around the back and the hips where they didn't carry it before, because that's exactly what happened to me. So that was a sign that was like, I've always been someone that carried it around my hips, around my sort of bum and thighs. And then it basically, I think I'll try and explain this. Estrogen's role is to kind of like distribute fat evenly around the body.
Yeah.
But then when estrogen declines, it decides to move it to the midsection, just like the gift that keeps on giving. So it's really hard because there's me as a trainer thinking I just got to keep ticking the boxes and doing all the right things, but it's trying to have that balance between not becoming so obsessed with the you're not gonna, not necessarily, it's okay to be in your maybe 40s or 50s and carry a little bit of belly fat, as long as it's not like excessive, like that visceral fat and stuff, the fat that sits around your organs and things. It's just trying to do all the things that you can, like strength training, like eating enough protein, eating enough good fats, and making sure you're moving your body. You don't necessarily need to go to like loads of exercise classes. I think the daily movement is the bit that's much more beneficial when it comes to menopause.
Yeah, and there's the thing where you mentioned a little bit further ago, where like when people are not starting, they keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. The hardest thing is to actually just start. Have you found that like when people have just like realized that they're like starting to turn and they are going into menopause, they're like, oh my God, now I need to start. They've had that light bulb.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. This morning I trained a lady that's also going through perimenopause herself and stuff, but I think it's also good to find a coach as well that understands the journey they're on, and that's why I felt it was really important to do the to have that qualification, so I can just really understand it myself. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm medically trained or I understand all of it, because actually it's a really complex subject, because there's so much noise on social media and so many different things that we think we should be doing, but it just becomes really overwhelming. So I think if it becomes like that for me, like someone like me as a coach, like no wonder what it's going to be doing to just like ladies are experiencing all these symptoms but don't really know how to get the help or who to listen to. They're sold every supplement under the sun and told to exercise like this and don't exercise like that. Like I said about the exercise classes, I think if you enjoy them and you enjoy that style of, you like that community feel, because I still teach classes for that reason. I move my body. I like that mobility. I like the core strength side of the classes that I teach. I don't think I could go back to teaching things like combat and spin, because I think that my body would always still feel that like that fight or flight feeling that I was feeling, that kind of like in a bit of a, well, I've got to go again, but I'm not recovering and I just got to keep pushing through. And it's not, that's a sign to say if you're feeling exhausted and your joints are hurting and you are feeling like you can't keep it up, then I guess that's a state of your body's been in a little bit of that fight or flight kind of feeling, and it's not nice really. So, and you don't have to exercise like that. That's your sign, I think, to say slow down, start to do things that maybe feel better for you. And then some ladies might find that they can still go and do all their running and fine with it. So it's a case of do what works for you really, but really be in tune with your body and listen to it.
Not comparing to other people. And then when it does come to social media, knowing that there is a lot of contradicting information, stuff that's not going to actually get you results. They are wanting you to buy supplements, like they're promising the world on some of these supplements, aren't they? Just like if you're getting this symptom, this symptom, this symptom, then you need this product. But people that are actually going through it, they're gonna believe it and they're gonna purchase it.
Yeah, and it is a hard one, because I've been guilty of buying things because I suppose I didn't ever think that I would get quite so many symptoms in perimenopause, because I just assumed being a coach and exercising and strength training I'd be okay, but sadly not. Sometimes I put the bar on my back and I put it, and this left wrist is so painful, I can't hold the bar. It's like sometimes my hips are really, really bad, and then my lower back seizes up. So it's like you do have to listen to your body, but you do have to strength train, because you're not going to have strong bones. Because the lack of hormones is going to make your bones weaker if you're not trying to build some muscle to strengthen them. 1 in 2 women post menopause will get osteoporosis.
That ratio is usually high.
Yeah, yeah, no one wants to be breaking a bone because it's the knock-on effect of all the health risks that then come with breaking a bone.
Yeah, but
It's, it's
for women, we do have to. Our body does go through quite a lot.
yeah, and even talking like this to you, I just think, wow, people are going to listen and think it's all a bit overwhelming. But I guess I think if you can just make those little changes,
Sooner rather than later, because it
maybe
gets the harder times easier. It might still be hard, but you've done what you at least you can say at least I've done what I can to prepare for this. Gonna make it a little bit easier for them, not just physically but mentally as well.
yeah, yeah, and it isn't always about supplements. Sometimes you can eat have such a good diet, that's really rich in good fats. Like I said, protein, fiber is so important as well. I think Mediterranean style diet, get all the goodness from that, and but definitely hitting trying to get enough protein in each meal. I would say maybe aim for at least 30 grams of protein in each meal if you can.
I think that's easy for us to say when we're just talking now, and we both fully know what healthy proteins are, healthy fats, carbs, and all of this. But like a Gen Pop person that doesn't have a clue what they think might be healthy might actually not be healthy. So I think it would be worth like people actually like looking into it properly, getting a coach.
Getting a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not going to a certain coach. This is going to sound bad if any coaches are watching this, but not a coach that just gives you meal plans and tells you what to eat. A coach that will teach you like this is going to be good for you. What foods do you like? So if they're on a certain type of diet, a lot of people I know still only have approximately 5 to 10 grams of protein per meal. Like
Yeah.
that's healthy, or the
Yeah.
type of salad is healthy, but it's not.
Yeah.
Telling somebody to then go to 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal is literally just going to completely turn their whole lifestyle around socially, what they're buying in the shops, and that's going to be overwhelming, let alone on top of how they're feeling with the changes and stuff. So I
Yeah.
personally, they need to learn about how to slowly like learn how to like even swap this for this, and do you know what I mean? So it's not just such a massive shock to their system, like now you can not eat any of the foods that you usually eat, now you got to go eat all this.
Yeah, I'd sort of recommend give them the protein source and then build the meal around that. But each meal, there's loads you can have, isn't there? It's all out there. There's so much access to everything now. Like,
Yeah, only if you're aware. Only if you're aware that they're there, though. If you're in your own habits and you're just so used to buying crackers, cheese,
yeah,
pate, all the things that haven't got protein in,
yeah,
if you're just used to it, you're not going to be looking for these things. So half the population aren't even aware of it. For
yeah,
instance, I had a client in M&S the other day. She always has like a cheese sandwich, and she's like, "What can I have instead?" And I was like, I literally showed her a video of like you got the sandwiches there, just
yeah,
to the left a little bit, and you've got your salads, you've got your fresh stuff. It's literally just making yourself aware that there are other options as well.
No, and you're right. I guess for us, we take it for granted because we're just
Yeah,
it's so instilled in us, isn't it? But yeah, it is yeah, no, I get, yeah, it is
if you put yourself in their shoes, like even that when I know I go out, I only look for what I want. I want my Greek yogurt, I want my fruits, I want. Do you know what I mean? And I go straight to them aisles. I don't look at nothing else. Like I
yeah,
literally do.
yeah,
Back the day when I was like severely overweight, I only looked to them certain aisles. So
yeah,
I can understand when my clients are like, "Well, I don't know how to get my protein in. I don't know how to do it."
yeah.
You taught how to do it. When they're on holiday now, you've got people even just choosing to have protein on the plate rather than being forced on a meal plan.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where I suppose I always try and get clients in the beginning to just track.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people go, "Oh, I don't want to do that because it makes me feel obsessed with it," which I think, yeah, but it's I suppose, and if you want to achieve your goal, though, it's hard to get to it without actually knowing what
yeah.
how much protein, carbs, and fats you should be having for your, based on
Yeah.
like
Well,
yeah,
you
it's
can just take photos. They don't even have to necessarily
yeah, it's
literally just look at the plate. If like depending on because like sometimes I get clients that have had like eating disorders or something.
yeah, true.
Obviously tracking for them is not in the window. Like I don't even put that in there. But if we need to know if we need to teach them what's they're putting on their plate, it'd be literally taking a photo just so I can see, like, okay, have you got portion of protein, portion of fruit and veg, portion of
Brilliant idea.
yeah, and just
Yeah,
literally put it online, or what's in that? Have you got any? What oils? What did you cook? What did you
yeah,
cook? It's like asking them questions on the spot rather than tracking. I don't tell them like the calories. What like we can calculate it quickly because we've
yeah,
been tracking for a while, but
yeah,
they don't need to know that if they have like you don't want to get them obsessed. So depending, there
yeah,
are ways I think it's good the coach that you have. I think it would be good that you can teach them something rather than just
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's what, like you say, it's that, you know, for people that are feeling a little bit lost, that's why having, a coach is, a good idea, isn't it? You know, for that support.
yeah, and there's going to be a lot of ladies that are going through it now and have no idea what they're going through. You like you've literally turned yours around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still on that journey myself, trying with it all, and trying to accept the whole um, pushing towards menopause, I guess, as well. I'm still in perimenopause at the moment, but yeah, but that's the problem. People also think that when you get to postmenopause,
Yeah,
you're through it.
no,
No,
like
your, your hormones kind of flatline. So instead of doing this, perimenopause is this, like a roller coaster. And then menopause is obviously the one day where you've no longer had a period after 12 months. So the following day is postmenopause, and that's when I think symptoms can start to reduce. But because the hormones flatline completely, therefore, yeah, so therefore you're not really getting any. So that's why it's so even more important to strength train and eat enough protein post menopause,
it's complicated.
because otherwise there's no hormones to support anything.
Yeah, no,
So, you know,
that's fine. So, this is going to sound like a really dumb question now.
if I
I don't even know if I should say it out loud. So do you know, like when we do postmenopause, we haven't got any of them hormones that like make us have periods. Have we got similar hormones to men then?
similar hormones to men,
Yeah, like you've got like
what
a more level with like what a man would have rather than what a woman would have. Does that make sense? Because we're not
no,
having like the hormones to change our bodies to like give us periods. We've taken that out of us.
yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, obviously testosterone starts to decline as well. Obviously men have much more than women do anyway.
Our testosterone doesn't go higher or anything like that. It doesn't. No.
No, because testosterone is one of those ones as well. Because some ladies, obviously, going back to the postmenopause thing, I think also, or perimenopause, some women choose to obviously take HRT to be able to help them. It's not a magic fix.
Yeah,
It is one of those. Basically, it's going to, help you, kind of like give you back. So for some women, it actually gives them back their quality of life
yeah,
instead of having to struggle. But some women are also really against it. So
yeah.
it's one of those, they've heard lots of stuff on social media. And so again, it's just, yeah, one of those where you've got to choose whether or not you want to keep struggling or whether you'd prefer to have a little bit of help. And it's
Yeah,
okay to have that little bit of help.
yeah, definitely.
It's okay if you can, because obviously there are some women that can't take HRT at all, but they can do lots through their lifestyle, their nutrition, movement, and strength training.
Yeah,
You get all
definitely.
those things in order, and those post menopause days are going to be much easier.
Yeah, no, exactly that. Now you've got a daughter as well, so I can guarantee that like I think we've spoke about this before, haven't we? Where like children are always following the footsteps. So has she seen you transition from doing all the classes, calorie counting, all of them to now weight training?
She was very little when I did that style of classes anyway. Not that, like I said, not that it was a bad thing, but I suppose after having her, I ended up with an underactive thyroid. That can happen apparently postpartum, kicks that hormone out.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it was very much, I felt a little bit poorly after having her, and I felt again, it can low mood, you can't shift any weight. I couldn't, because I wasn't on any medication until obviously I realised that there was a problem, because I'd gone back to teaching all my classes really, really well, like really well, and nothing was shifting. I was like, something's not right here, and I feel like I'm walking around in a bit of a fog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a nice feeling, but obviously that was, came back from the blood test that I had an underactive thyroid. So from then onwards, I guess, did I kind of probably start to, it's a tricky one. Yeah, I think for that reason, I think that was probably one of the big reasons why I decided that I needed to stop being, obsessing over being smaller and obsessing over food and always eating, in calorie deficits, because I just didn't want her to be part of that or see that. So yeah, no, she doesn't see me. She sees me eat everything. I make sure we cook together, we eat together. She's got a really good relationship with food.
That's good, because I know people that don't, from watching like their parents not have it. So that's a really, like, you set the tone, don't you?
You do, but it's happening again now, isn't it? There's, some of these girls that are watching, they're the constant sort of still happening. Women with their, burning out, doing all the exercise, trying to they're, talking about diets and stuff in front of their children.
And they listen and they take it on board. Like, as a child, your brain is like a sponge, and they literally listen to everything.
Yeah. We're quite careful with that really in the house and stuff. And I suppose because I'm definitely not skinny. Yeah, I don't really do the whole kind of chasing a scale weight anymore. Because it's hard with that as well when you do build muscle, and you don't necessarily see a drastic drop on the scales when you start strength training. And but yeah, it's just important that we just try and make sure that they understand that it is okay to be it isn't always about being smaller or skinny. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be that to be accepted and stuff. It's we all come in different shapes and sizes. It's more about, like I said, it's more about choosing to just live in the moment, isn't it, and enjoy life without having an obsession with something.
Oh, definitely. Now, if anybody that's listening to this is struggling because they don't know what's actually going on with their body or anything like that, what would you recommend them now?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of ladies as well. I do find that it's really hard as well for them to go to the doctors and get any help, because as well, you might get a really good doctor that's trained in menopause, but generally it's a hard one, because there's no blood test that's really going to tell you whether you're in menopause or not. It's because of the up down, you might go and then things might seem okay, and then your symptoms might come back again. And it's really it's just it's hard to do blood testing for. It's best to really keep, I would say, track your symptoms, keep a tracker. I think there's some apps. I think one's called there's the Balance app that's good with Dr. Louise Newson. I think there's one maybe called Flow, that but might be more for periods and things as well. I think as long as you're aware and keeping in tune with things and seeing how you feel throughout the type of exercise that you're doing, and go to the doctor and tell them what you think, these are your symptoms, and hopefully you get a good doctor. They'll understand and they can probably hopefully guide you. Some women, they will offer HRT, and to others that choose not to do it, I would say to, like all the things that I just said to you, really, it's just about choosing to get your nutrition, look at your nutrition, and look at, trying to start lifting some weights and doing some strength training, try and get more movement in, some daily steps, any kind of movement that you enjoy doing, and just trying to get that balance, really.
No, thank you so,
Yeah,
so much.
you
If
are.
anyone wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So I'm at Layla's Fitbiz. That's LAYLASFITBIZ, all one word.
I love that so much. I'll write it down at the bottom anyway. But no, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you. And I will put this out there and hopefully people can reach you with with your name.
Layla's Fitbiz, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you, Louise, for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.